Iceland is a beautiful country with unique sceneries. It has volcanoes, countless waterfalls, glacier, black beach, and northern lights. Before we visited the country, we were told it was expensive, especially in the summertime, which is the peak for the tourism. Or you might have heard was good things about these scenery places. But is it really the truth? Is it really worth to spend that much money? How about other aspects that nobody is talking about? Today we're going to talk about our experience in several aspects and hopefully can provide you some guide or tips when you are planning to visit Iceland. Iceland is cold and windy. We went there in late August and highest temperature was below 15 degrees Celsius. July is slightly warmer, but with wind chill, temperature drops quickly. It also rains quite often, so you need to wear waterproof jackets, pants, and shoes, especially if you like hiking a lot. We purchased 3-in-1 interchangeable waterproof jackets from Columbia brand, which contains a waterproof out layer, a down jacket inside. This one jacket can accommodate all different weather and temperatures. As for flight ticket, we took Iceland Air. It is also considered expensive. We paid 2,500 Canadian dollars in business class for a 5.5-hour flight. Their business class is called Saga Premium without any lie flat seat. With just about $200 more, we flew to Chile with more than 14 hours of flight time during Christmas on Aeromexico. They sometimes offer deals to fly Europe with same price as to fly to Iceland. Basically, it gives you a free leg from Iceland to other cities in Europe. Please watch this video if you're interested in my flight review. Anyway, I think they are one of the few that offers real business class style seat in Europe, so it might be good to fly within Europe but not from or to North America. As for the airport, Keflavik, which is KEF, is not a big airport, but it's trying to be a connecting hub between North America and Europe. However, with current facility, once we arrived, we noticed that a few things really need improvement. The first, we parked on tarmac and no jet bridge, which means we had to take shuttle bus. Imagine you had to be exposed outside in the wintertime. The second, once bus arrived at terminal, the entrance gate was so small, so we had to line up in order to get into the terminal. That's another reason you don't want to be like this in the wintertime. The airline only offered dinner when departing from Toronto, but there was no breakfast or any morning snack. That's why my family was very starving when we arrived in the morning in Keflavik. And then we tried to find something to eat. We found a cafe-style restaurant called Mathas. You can order food and put them on a tray and then do the self-checkout or go to the cashier. However, when checking out, it requires you to scan your departure boarding pass, which is weird, but thanks to the cashier who manually overrode this and we finally got our breakfast. When we flew back, we arrived at airport early. However, there was no sign on where the priority check-in line is. On the screen, there was no indication on which check-in counter or area we should go. All it said was self-check-in. I walked around but did not find any counter, nor I could not find any information desk or any staff to ask about this. Thus, we had to do the self-check-in, but because there was no priority tag, when we arrived in Toronto, we had to wait for a long time to get our luggage, and our luggage was also damaged. Just before we headed to the security, we found there was a small check-in counter at the corner for all Canada flights. Then, when flying from Keflavik to North America, you have to go through the immigration. Somehow they like to put flights to North America close to each other, thus resulting in a huge crowd in lineup. There's only one Saga lounge, which is before the immigration, because they try to save money by putting both domestic and international passengers together. Thus, if you try to go to the gate just when boarding starts, you probably will be late. If you want to try out the lounge, make sure you give yourself enough time to go through the passport control and head to the gate. Their boarding area around the gate was so small, somehow the boarding gate we had was on the second floor, and the crowd was even lined up on the stairs by the time we got there. So the place was so crowded. Just be careful if you have a kid with you. Due to this, we definitely do not think Keflavik is a good airport. It might just be right for connecting, but definitely not departing or arriving. And the extra money we paid on the business class is not really worth it because of all these things we spotted. The official currency for Iceland is ISK, which is Icelandic krona. We usually just use debit card and withdraw cash from the machine at the airport. However, in Iceland, it could only withdraw euros or USD, which is another weird thing. Then we had to exchange the money at the counter in the airport and pay more fees. The good thing is most places take cards, credit cards, so you can exchange small amount of cash just to give tips to the tour guides. The next thing we're talking about is the car rental. There are only 3 rental companies on site, meaning you can see their counters after you arrive in terminal, which are Hertz, Avis, and Europcar. This is the map of the airport. If you happen to reserve a car with other companies, you will need to exit the terminal on the east side, find the shuttle bus in parking lot in order to get to the rental places. They're located on the top left area. There's a gas station called Orkan in that area. It can only accept local card for the payment, which is weird. If you want to fill up the gas before returning the car, you will have to find another gas station outside this area. You certainly do not want to walk there, especially in the winter. However, with people having large luggages, the bus might get crowded easily. We chose Enterprise with the Kia Sportage SUV, which accommodates 1 large luggage and 5 carry-on ones with a few backpacks. The car rental itself is more than 800 Canadian dollars for 10 days. However, we paid another $800 just for full insurance. Even though it is expensive, but we feel it is worth it since first, it saves time on checking out and returning the car since they would not care any dents or damage. Second is some roads are not well paved in Iceland, and with the harsh weather in Iceland, you could easily get dents or scratches from rocks. There was no clear sign on where to return car to off-site car rental companies. I had to circle twice in order to find it after I dropped off my family to the terminal. This is the sign for all speed limits in Iceland. In the city, limits are mostly 50, but in Reykjavik, some streets are even 30. On Ring Road, it is mostly 90. By the way, Iceland requires cars have headlight on all day long, not like North America where daylight running light is enough. There are speed cameras on Ring Road and on Golden Circle, that is close to Reykjavik. They will put a sign like this before getting close to the camera. However, just be careful that their cameras are facing the incoming cars, meaning it will take a picture of you and front of your car, not like in North America where they usually take pictures on rear plate only. If you get caught, you will get a letter like this. Usually, you get some discount if you pay the fine within specific time period. Road conditions on Ring Road are generally very good as they are well paved. We went there in summertime, which had no snow. However, in the winter time, you will need to be more careful. As for the roads start with F, for example F225, they're not well paved. You will encounter a lot of little gravels. For the roads with 3 digits, such as 327, there are a lot of potholes and big rocks. That's why they have a sign of 4x4 vehicles only when you enter it. Gas in Iceland is expensive. The lowest rated gas is octane 95, and it was about 310 ISK per liter when we visited there, which was almost double the price here in Canada. There are a few major gas stations. We liked N1 the most since some of them have large space with restaurants and stores. We'll come back to this part later when we talk about food. For most of gas stations out of the city, there's no staff around. You will have to pay by card. In Iceland, these machines only accept credit cards or debit cards with chips, and you have to enter PIN. The rental car companies usually provide discount fobs and attach them to the key. When you fill gas at their designated brand, you can scan the fob to get some discount. All these gas pumps machines provide different amounts to choose. One of them is to fill up. But do not choose this option because it will pre-authorize big chunk of amount from your available credit, and it might not release it in a short time. Just select a defined bigger amount instead. Don't worry about the big amount as it will only charge the actual amount you fill up. For example, if you want to fill up and estimate it will be 30 liters and total will be 9,300 ISK, you can select amount of 20,000 ISK even. It will only charge 9,300 ISK in the end, but in this case, you are rest assured that it will only pre-authorize 20,000 ISK from your credit card. When you are driving away from the populated area, you want to make sure the gas is enough for your travel, as the next gas station might be far away. Hotels are very expensive in the summertime. Some people prefer the camper van as it combines car rental and accommodation, especially if you only have 2 people. I'll put the link to their website in the description. However, for other people that are not used to camping or you have more than 2 people, the traditional hotels or Airbnb is still the better choice. In the peak season, the Airbnb price is basically the same as hotels or even more expensive. We only found one good deal, and it was a nice house with less than 400 Canadian dollars a night that easily accommodated 5 of us. All other accommodations were hotels. Our first hotel in Reykjavik was Icelandic Apartments, which is away from city center and provides free parking. It was spacious, clean, and well equipped with all kitchenware. They had 2 shared washer and dryer machines on second floor. However, during the summertime, they might be very busy and you might have to wait for a long time before you can use them. The view from the room is fantastic. There's a lake and you can see the mountains and rain road in a distant way. The price for this hotel was about 250 Canadian dollars per room per night. The rest of the hotels we stayed were very expensive. This is Adventure Hotel Halisandur, which is 3 stars and 577 Canadian dollars per room per night. This is a Foss Hotel Mivatan, which was about 500 Canadian dollars per room per night. The most expensive one is Foss Hotel Glacier Lagoon, which was 680 Canadian dollars per room per night, but it has a great restaurant and view. Food and drinks in Iceland are also very expensive in general. The latte was costing about 800 to 900 ISK. They have a very famous orange soda called Applesin, which I like very much. You should try it when you visit Iceland. In theory, you can drink the tap water in Iceland directly, but we found tap water in some hotels has smell of sulfur, so we still drink spring water bought from the grocery stores. To be honest, the variety of food in Iceland is not that many. However, Iceland has its own tasty dishes, such as seafood and lambs. For example, the lamb soup, a lamb shank, a lamb chop, all with its own Icelandic sheep. With several restaurants, you can have unlimited lamb soup with bread when you pay the price for a person, but you cannot share it with other people. As tourism contributes a lot in their economy, you can find American and British style food such as burgers, hot dogs, fish and chips. This is the burger we bought from a store across our hotel in Reykjavik. The beef was freshly cooked and very delicious. However, 5 burgers with 1 salad and 1 soup cost us about 250 Canadian dollars. The other food styles include steak, pasta, chicken, and curry rice. All of them are very delicious. The desserts some restaurants served are also very good. There is a very special restaurant called Freihema. It is in a tomato greenhouse. You will be joined with some bees while you're dining there, since they're essential for pollination. The food, to be honest, was average, but the tomatoes were really good since they were homegrown. As the restaurant is very famous and popular, I made the reservation online at least 2 months ahead. They're only open for lunch, which is between 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Even though the restaurants in Iceland are usually expensive, the good thing is you do not need to give any tips. However, the cheapest food option is actually at gas station with sandwiches, hot dogs, and burgers. We were told that hot dog in N1 was very good and we tried it. Well, it's not as good as we thought. Maybe we're just unlucky with this particular station. You can get pre-packaged sandwich and toasted in microwave. Some stations also offer burgers that are freshly made. There are quite some different types of tours in Iceland. We tried Glacier boat tour, horse riding, and 6 different hot springs. You can watch these videos if you're interested. Some of the tours can only be available in some seasons, such as whale watching in summer, northern lights and ice cave exploration in winter. But due to global warming, there was an incident earlier this year that an ice cave has collapsed and killed 1 person. Usually, the tour should not be open in August. Make sure to check the latest update on these tours before you book them. Icelandic people are very nice and friendly. Some of them are not very outspoken, probably due to its cold nature and long dark nights in the winter. But once they start talking, you will feel the warmness. This is similar to my friends in Finland. However, the Icelandic language is really hard to say, and I think their language is very similar to Norwegian. Good thing is, they all speak fluent English. Most tourism places have English signs, and menus in restaurants are in English as well. Iceland has unique sceneries that you cannot find in any other places in the world. If you have never been to Iceland, you should definitely try. However, the time we visited there was in the summer, and it was relatively crowded, so our experience was not that great. The flight from Canada to Iceland was overnight and only took about 5.5 hours. This is an awkward flight time as well, since by the time you get into sleep after dinner, it is almost landed. In addition, it is even more expensive than Switzerland. Therefore, we might only consider visiting again if we fly back from Europe in the daytime and connecting in Keflavik. In this case, we might just stay in Reykjavik for 2 to 3 days and try some different tours. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and see you in the next video.